Welcome to the very first episode of SHIFT Bhutan podcast. Today we have a very, interesting individual.
Thank you.
The National Director of Save the Children Bhutan. I'm not going to introduce ma'am. I would like ma'am to introduce yourself. But we're going to play a small game though. So it's called a name, a passion, and a secret.
Secret that's going to be open to the public.
Name, a passion, and open secret.
I karma. Passion would be, it keeps changing, but at the moment it would be my work. And secret would be that I'm an old lady with two grown-up boys, two adults.
That's not a secret.
It's an open secret.
Before we go into Save the Children Bhutan, ma'am, tell us something about what Save the Children International does. I know that Save the Children International is like a renowned organization, but like for our listeners maybe?
Save the Children is actually, it was founded more than 100 years ago by this very brave lady called Eglantine Jebb, so in the UK. And this was in the wake of World War I. So, you know, she started Save the Children as a response to the suffering that she saw among children as a result of the war. She was the first one to proclaim that children have rights. And then it became like a global movement to make the world a better place for children. And also it laid the foundations for, you know, the formulation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. So we are 100 years old and we are very proud of our origins. And now 100 years hence, as you said, Save the Children is a renowned INGO, international non-governmental organization working for child rights. We work in over 113 countries with over 25,000 staff. And basically, you know, working to make the world a place where all children can survive, learn, and be protected.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. And like now, let's like zoom in a bit, right? Like to Bhutan, Save the Children Bhutan. Tell us something about that.
So, Save the Children in Bhutan, we were established in 1982, and we started from this remote Dzongkhag, Shemgang, and it started as a integrated rural development program. I still remember, it was called the Integrated Sustainable Development Program. And since then, 40 years on, we have been working with ministries, departments, agencies of the government, local civil society organizations, mainly in the three, key areas of education, protection, and health. And we are also guided by the partnership areas that are outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding. We signed 5-yearly MOUs with the government, so that also guides, our work in Bhutan. But so far, 40 years, I think the journey for Save the Children in Bhutan has been very productive. We have been able to accomplish a lot with in partnership with the government, our local partners in the three areas that I mentioned.
I think people in Bhutan do know about Save the Children, but the three areas especially, yes. I don't think they know about this, because I've heard people say that, oh, Save the Children, they just, they save the children, but like maybe if you could explain the three areas.
Save the Children, like in any country, we work on the basis of what we call strategic plans, country strategic plans. So these are 3-year plans. For example, our current country strategic plan is from 2022 to 2024. And all the priorities and programs in the plan are, prioritized in discussion and, co-designed with our partners from the government as well our local, CSO partners. And we always try to align what we do with the priorities that are there in the 5-year plan or in the plans of our local partners. So as I mentioned, the 3 key areas, education, health, and protection. So these are the 3 broad areas, but what we do within those themes are really driven by, the need of the hour, by the needs and priorities of the children and of our partners. And if you look at the current country strategic plan, we are working in 6 key areas. So the first one is, I'm going to go a little bit in detail because as you were saying, we talk about these 3 areas, but then really what are we doing? Everybody has to know. So the first area is early learning, care and childhood development for 0 to 5-year-olds. So this work we are doing in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Skills Development and the Ministry of Health. And the second priority area is strengthening child protection systems. So, at all levels, so at the child and individual level, family level, community level, at the national level. So that again, the work is with the Ministry of Education and Skills Development, the National Commission for Women and Children, and with our CSO partners like Renew, Najin Lamten. So that's the second area. The third area is inclusive education. So again, working with the Ministry of Education and Skills Development to see how we can make education accessible to children with disabilities. And then also partnering with CSOs like PENSEM, DRUGTSO, the Disabled People's Organization of Bhutan, Ability Bhutan Society on, raising awareness on the issues that children with disabilities face, and their families face. So raising awareness. Then the fourth area is supporting the National HIV and STI Control Program of the Ministry of Health, and also the CSOs like Laksam, Chiten Pende Association, networks like Pride Bhutan, Queer Voices of Bhutan, to reach vulnerable and key populations to provide them with accessible and friendly HIV services. The fifth area, which is like very new, we just started the project this year. So this one is supporting the capacity building programs for CSOs, and we are doing this in partnership with Renew and Bhutan Transparency Initiative. So this is basically to support CSOs to be equal partners in inclusive development, local governance. So that's one area. And the last one, which you are very familiar with, is youth advocacy and programming. So these are, again, you can see a very diverse portfolio.
Yeah. Is empowering adolescents especially, is it like a program area for Save the Children as well?
So with adolescents, I think we touch a little bit of that through our SHIFT programs, which the program is all about. And we're also looking at, we used to work a lot in, for example, the youth development programs, the youth centers, parenting programs and adolescent programs were actually started by Save the Children. And later, as it became sustainable and, adapted and adopted by the government, we handed that over to the Department of Youth and Sports. But now, I think going forward in the next plan, I think we will have a big component around, adolescent friendly programs, as well as, how to make services more adolescent friendly.
All right. So following up on the last program area, that's youth, I was surprised when when Ganzo, the previous national coordinator, said, "Oh, we're gonna do a program like this campaign with Save the Children," and I was like, aren't they for children? But apparently now I think Save the Children, they're shifting towards youth campaigns at the moment. So now tell us about that. Why
the shift?
The focus is on youth campaign.
Okay. SHIFT is it's a innovative campaign accelerator model that was developed by Save the Children, and the basic philosophy behind that is that we need to really shift power to the young people, so that they can, by power I mean the resources, the tools, and the know-how, so that they can lead and transform change on issues that matter most to them. The other concept is young people listen to young people. They listen to their peers. So if you really want to make your campaign effective, then this is the good way of doing it, involving the youth, making them lead their own campaigns. So that's also, I think, why the focus is on youth programming, because it's more effective especially if your target is the youth and the children. So that's the whole idea, and also the shift of why youth programming. We believe that it's really beneficial and it's very impactful. And we implemented the first round of SHIFT programs in Bhutan last year. Very successful. All the campaigns were highly successful, and we are now going into the second round of SHIFT campaigns. So really looking forward.
Yeah, I totally agree on the peer-to-peer education part, ma'am. So personally, I'm going very blunt.
Oh.
I feel like youth advocates, campaigners, right? Youth campaigners who want to do stuff, were not recognized enough. And a shift was really, it was a very turning point for us as well, because we haven't really worked with adolescents. It was very fun. It was the first time for YP Bhutan as well. Now, in the future, I'm pretty sure Chef's gonna go for a very long time. How do you foresee Bhutan, with regards to youth campaigning?
I mean, if you look at our, the population makeup of Bhutan, the youth is a significant number, so they have to take the lead. SHIFT, as you were saying, hopefully it will be there for a long time, and it will help our young advocates in, shaping their campaigns, but then, keeping it true to their vision, and not really try to mold it into something else to fit the objectives of the organization, but keep it true to the vision of the young advocates. No? I think now more and more recognition is there, even within the government, also in the communities, local governments. There are young advocates even advocating in the Dzongkhalgi, and it is proving to be effective. So don't lose heart. I think there is recognition, and it's also effective.
I was gonna say, especially with regards to youth advocates like working in various fields, like I don't know, personally, like when I was small, there used to be like a lot of youth groups, like there used to be like for climate change, SRHR, the Scouts Himalaya Day, but like what different can we do? Like what can maybe the government, I don't know if you can represent them, but what different should we do in general, especially with regards to youth who are like advocates?
I think I am not in a position to say what the government should do, but then I think the youth perspective is a fresh perspective, and it's actually the pulse of the nation. So it would not be wise on anyone's part to ignore the voice of the youth. As you were saying, so many organizations, networks, small groups, So maybe if even the youth, I think you need to be a little more united in terms of placing your issues to the government or to any other stakeholders. So you need to learn to be more organized and united.
So I think we're at the end of our podcast, ma'am. So the very final question: what message do you have for all the youths and the children in Bhutan?
I don't have a personal message, but I thought it's an opportunity to maybe echo the words of wisdom of His Majesty the King. So in his most recent address to the graduates of 2022, His Majesty said that the mandate of the youth is to transform the nation. So to be able to do that, you need to have the skills, you need to have the right values, you need to learn to be resilient in the face of challenges. You need to be able to and be willing to work hard. Nothing comes easy, so for free. So, and also you need to be able to really look within and discover your passion, and ultimately they dream big and to lead our country into the 21st century. So I think that really says it all. So I would just want to wish all the children and youth of Bhutan the very best and every success in life.
Well, that's the end of our podcast, ma'am. Thank you for making time. Huge shout out to Save the Children Bhutan. And then, yeah, like, look up for our next episode.
Save the children.